All right. Hey, class. This is Jason Washington. Appreciate you joining me. Today, we're going to talk about the fire service knots. We're going to talk about some key terms. We're going to talk about and demonstrate how to actually tie the knots. So we're going to just summarize the importance of that and being able to tie those knots on scene under the intense pressure that we sometimes can go up against as firemen. So basically what I want to do first and foremost is just kind of give you an introduction into some of the knots that we're going to be covering. I have quite a few of them here, but we're going to cover a few of them just to keep time under wraps, because what I found over, talking with people, tying knots with people, that it's better to be proficient at tying, 5 or 6 knots than it is to have, 20 knots in your repertoire, but not know really when to tie them, when it's appropriate, and things like that. So it's really advantageous to you, to your crew, and to just whoever you're working for and with to be able to tie these proficiently. Now, the knots that I've chosen are also in the fire industry and the fire service. These are knots that can be used by just about anyone on any scene at any time, whether we're doing rescue, hoisting tools, whatever that might be. And remember that become proficient at these and become, where these are almost second nature for you, you really need to practice these. You need to practice tying knots in-house. You need to practice tying knots with your crew. That will build crew integrity as well. And you'll find that if you can work with a crew and find somebody that will work with you, you can set up scenarios, tabletop stuff, then get hands-on where you're actually going to be, trying to make things as real as possible and creating that stressful environment, and you having to, succeed at tying those knots and completing your task. To reduce time, we're going to just we're going to cover the safety knot. We're going to cover the clove hitch. We're going to cover square knot, the Beckett bend. We're going to cover the bowline, which is replaced by now figure 8 on a bite. I'm going to then show you how to tie a figure 8 on a bite, and then I'm going to show you how to tie a handcuff knot. So these knots are very quick. They're easy to do. They're easy to learn, but remember, you have to practice them in order to be proficient with them. I want to go over some terminology real quick, though, so that you have a better understanding of what it is I'm going to be saying and discussing, so that you guys have an idea. We have various parts of it and ends of a rope. If I tie a knot in this right here, this is going to be my working end of the rope. This is where I'm tying my knots, okay? No, the lighting isn't very good. This is my 4th time recording this to try to get it to you. But this is the working end. And you've got a portion that is your standing end here, and then the working end if somebody's got it on belay, if they're hoisting up a tool, whatever that might be. Parts that make up a knot eventually are bite. Okay, you can see this does not cross over itself. All I've done is taken it, make it smaller so you can see, and we've got a bite. A loop is simply this. If I drop that and it's crosses over itself, so that's a loop. Okay, a knot, very simple. Any knot, figure 8 that I'm tying right here. Okay, what that is, an intertwined loop of rope. Okay, you can use it to not that particular knot, but knots are used to tie onto objects, people, used for securing something, used for hoisting, used all kinds of various ways. And a knot will cinch down. You can set a knot and it will not lose its integrity. A bend or a hitch will lose its integrity. It is not safe by itself. Okay, so it will come loose. Like a clove hitch, it will come loose eventually if it's being pulled and utilized and doesn't have a safety knot tied in it. When we talk about a knot, we want to dress the knot. We want it to look pretty. Okay, we want it to look very nice when we're done. And then setting that knot just means pulling it taut in both directions and being able to utilize that knot, knowing that it's stable. okay? So as far as tying knots, we're going to talk about the safety knot. Real easy knot to tie. I take my rope, okay, make a loop, back under that loop, okay, pull it tight. We've got a safety knot. That needs to be tied on all knots, in my opinion, and on scene and in practice, so that you understand the importance of a safety knot in case something happens to the first portion of your knot. We're going to go right into the clove hitch, which is one of my favorite knots. If I have an object that I can tie a clove hitch onto that does not have an end necessarily or a beginning block, like I'll tell you what, I'll just use this right here. Part of our decor I took down for this. If I wanted to utilize that, my favorite way of tying this is just to tie across my arms, palms down, both of them. Okay, and what I do is I make a loop. One loop is in the front of the rope, one loop is in the back of the rope. And then when I push those two together, there's a little pretzel there. I just pull them together. Okay, that's going to be a clove hitch. Take the object, slide it in through there. Okay, pull that nice and tight. I've got a clove hitch. Okay, I can use that in either direction if I wanted to. There's also another way to tie a clove hitch. Let's say you need to tie off your ladder and you've got to use a ladder rung. Okay, get this untied here. Say I'm capturing a ladder rung. What I want to do is I want to go over that ladder rung. Okay, hold it here, come back underneath, and capture the ladder rung again, and I'm going to cross over my rope. Okay, see that? Make an X. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come underneath that rope that I just had underneath there, on top of there, sorry. Now I've got a clove hitch. Make it nice and taut. I can use that any direction, either direction. Talk about a square knot. Square knot's used to extend rope. If you needed extra rope, it's used to tie two ropes that are the same diameter together. And it's very simple. If I had two ends of a rope, all I would want to do is go right over left, go underneath my rope, and then go left over right, pulling it in through that bite together. There's a really easy way to check this. If it slides nice and easily, you've got two bites that are intertwined. You've got a nice square knot. Again, tie your safety knots on the back end of that. The safety knot, again, is over the rope, around it, in through the loop, and pulling it taut. Okay, so that's not going to go any farther in that direction. Same for this. Cross over my rope, make a loop, back through that loop. Okay, I've got safety knots on both ends of my square knot. And undo this knot. And if you have a chain or that you want to tie to a rope, or if you need to tie two pieces of rope that aren't the same diameter, that's simple. You can do that with a becket bend or a sheet bend, and all you need to do that is very simply make a bite in the rope, take the other rope, go into the loop. I'm going to go around, capturing both portions of that bite, up, and then go under the rope that came in through the loop. And now you've got a becket bend. Okay, you've got one rope that has a bite in it and one rope that has a loop in it. Of course, you'd want to tie your safety knots, making sure that that is, of course, secure. The bowline, one of my favorite knots. I see a lot of use out of it, but it's been replaced by the figure eight, which I totally understand. If I'm an object and I want to secure myself to it, this is a little hard to demonstrate, but I'm going to go over, creating a loop, okay, through that loop and around, go back to the standing portion of the rope, and I go under and around it and capture it into that little pretzel. It is a self-tightening rope. It's easily done. You can do it in the dark. You can do it with one hand. And I could tie that around myself for self-rescue. Somebody was above me and had to pull me out. Okay. It is not necessarily meant for rescue. It is meant for capturing an object and securing that. Okay. Figure 8 on a bight is the knot that has replaced the bowline in the fighter industry for the most part. And that knot is very simple to tie. Get yourself a nice bight on your rope. I like to stick my thumb in here. Come back or come behind, around, back up through that loop that's being made there. And then you pull it taut. Now, if I was going to be teaching this to some rope experts, that would not be acceptable based on I need to dress it. So I'm going to dress it just a little bit so that you can see the difference. Okay. Now I've got figure 8 on a bight. Again, I would tie my safety knot, go around the rope, make a loop, in the loop. I tie that at a distance away so you can see I've got that. What I would like to do is I could tie multiple safety knots if I wanted to, but I like to have my safety knot right up against my actual knot. You can use this for capturing an object, hoisting. I can use that for just about anything I want when it comes to using that in the fire service. So very, very useful knot. And last but not least is the handcuff knot, butterfly as it's also referred to. And it's very similar to tying a clove hitch in that cross your arms. I like to use both palms down, uncross my arms, and I've got a loop in the front of the rope, a loop in the back of the rope, put them together. My loop in the front goes towards the back, my loop in the back goes towards the front. Make that pretzel, pull on those inner pieces, and now I've got a butterfly knot. Tie that knot for self-rescue, okay? Somebody can pull me up. Okay, so now we've demonstrated on how to tie some of the knots. Just want to summarize that these knots are used across fire service. They can be used by just about any firefighter in any given situation to become well aware of what knot you need to tie, when you need to tie it, and how to tie it. You need to practice at home, and you need to practice with your crew. That builds integrity with the crew. That builds self-awareness. It also gives you situational awareness, and we are trying to learn by implementing the correct knot, doing it efficiently, expediting whatever result we want, whether we're rescuing a victim, rescuing a firefighter, deploying a haul system, whether we're capturing an object for stabilization, whatever that might be, whether we're hoisting tools up. So practice at home and practice with your crew. So hopefully this has been a good review. Again, knots that you can tie in just about any situation, on any fire ground, in any fire service. Thank you.